This is Emma. First of all, she's a UGC creator, loving to create content. Second of all, she's a client of mine and has been it for the last 16 months. Together we went from building absolutely nothing to one of the biggest educational online companies for women in Scandinavia. Today I'm going to tell you exactly how we did everything from writing the first word to leading and managing all of the students and making them happy. Today we're in this beautiful villa hosting a mastermind for some of the students that has been with us for a long time. But let's turn on the iPad so I can show you exactly how we came this far. Today I will show you how one of my dear clients went from absolutely $0 to nearly $300,000 collected in cash in the last 11 months. So as you can see here, we started at completely $0 in the first month, and at month 11 we have made a total of $284,994. We did this with less than 4,000 followers, and as you can see here, we just crossed the first million on Stripe, and we've booked a little over, I think it's 1,100 meetings now in the last 11 months. And we did all of this without doing any cold outreach, without having any insane guarantees. We did it with 80% profit and less than 4,000 followers. As you saw here, to be exact, it was 3,801 followers. As you can see here, there's a bit of proof from the payments as well. But let's just get straight into it. In terms of the goal for this client, it was quite simple. First, we wanted to implement the ecosystem that we always do. Then we would always maintain high profit and make everything predictable. The way we make everything predictable is that we track every number, but I'll come a lot more in depth about that in a minute. In terms of implementing an ecosystem, it's actually quite simple, because instead of focusing on a funnel where it's quite static, we actually buy followers. So we ask people to go in and follow on Instagram, because there it's a lot more leverage, because people see stories, reels, posts and stuff like that. So like over time, the results will only get bigger and bigger and bigger, because the attention is getting bigger, and where attention go, money flow. So it's like the first 2, 3, 4 months won't be very sexy, but after time, it will just scale up enormously. So in this video, I'll walk you through the 5 steps that we have taken to go from 0 to nearly $300,000 in cash. Quick introduction of me before we move forward. My name is Gustav, if you don't know me. I've had a marketing agency before where I've spent a few million on ads. I've worked with over 25 coaches now in the last 2 years, and I'm now helping 8 done-for-you clients in my agency, and I also coach a bit on the side. I have exited 2 companies before even turning 21, and I've taken multiple info products from 0 to 6 figures. For context, this was Emma before we scaled. So she basically had no system for leads, and everything was relied on luck. She was charging way too little because she didn't really have any leverage. As you can see, only 484 followers. And she was starting basically at 0 every month and said yes to almost all new clients. And if we go follow the arrow here and see where she's at now, me and her, have scaled it to a multiple 6-figure coaching business. One of the biggest in Denmark where it's operated right now. And we are consistently hitting 20 to 30, 40K a month in profit. We have a very clear sales process, a backend system that leads to a predictable client flow. So we basically know our numbers this month, the next month, and also a few months in advance, because we have a clear path on where we're going, how we're going to achieve it, and how we're going to do it. She's also positioned as the authority in her niche, and that is a big advantage, for example, for her, because she does UGC, because brands now see her as the best one, and they will pay a lot more for her to work for them. So she doesn't have to work with as many clients as she did before, because we also have leveraged her personal brand, which is just a huge upside in terms of doing this whole ecosystem thing instead of a funnel. And we also run a very lean team. So there's basically a setter, then there's her, and then there's me. And that gives us over 80% profit. In the month of August, we closed in an 83% profit, 0.18%, which is pretty good. Our mentor said it was almost too healthy. And yeah, I don't know, we'll see. And we did all of this with 3,801 followers on IG, which is pretty good, because if you do the numbers, it's at like $780 per follower. And when we pay $3, $4, $5 per follower, it's pretty good numbers. But let's just get into it. So there's 5 steps. The first one we always do, tracking the right data, because if you're not tracking, you're guessing. And it is basically, it's stupid not to track. I think you know that. But here's what we track. So we track the cost per follower, we track the reply rate, we track the booking rate, the show up rate, we track the qualified call rate. We want to know how many of the people that show up that are qualified, because that gives us an incentive of how qualified our followers is. Then we can see how much do we pay for a qualified follower also. Then we want to see close rate, then cost per book call, then cost per acquisition, then lifetime value, then return on ad spend, and then a quite unseen one is actually the sales cycle length, because this is one thing we track on and optimize a lot for, which is, how long does it take for a follower to get on a meeting and from a meeting to a sale? This cycle is what we call the sales cycle. So every time we optimize and try new things, we have to look at how long does it take for a follower to become a sale. In our case, it's 52 days. So every time we take a new thing into play, we have to wait 52 days to see if it works. And when you know these kind of things, you're not guessing anymore and you're making predictable outcomes. And you of course also want to track your profit margin. You can think of it like this. So the first point is you track followers and ad metrics. And the question you can ask here is, can we fill the ecosystem? The second one is the DM plus booking metrics. And that is basically, are we converting followers into meetings? That's a good point as well. The third one is meeting metrics. So, the quality of the meetings, the show up rate, stuff like that. Then there's the sale meetings, so the close rate, the average order, stuff like that, the cash collected rate, stuff like that. And then unit economics, so customer acquisition cost, lifetime value, and ROAS. So you want to split it into these 5 segments as well. And I think that is all you need to know for tracking data. Just don't be stupid with it and just track everything. In terms of point 2, this is a bit different. But one thing we optimize the business for is just looking at constraints. And I'll explain what a constraint is just shortly. So first, let me just give you a quick analogy. So let's say the red dot here is the constraint, and the constraint is sales. We could book in a lot of meetings, we could get a lot of new followers, make a lot of new content, and we could also have a business that are ready to get the clients, that are optimized for getting good results, that are just overall good at the client delivery. But the only thing blocking the meetings from actually getting the product we have is the sales. What I see a lot of people doing is focusing on the parts here and the parts here, instead of just focusing on this one. Because if this one was removed, the flow would be like this. So there would just be arrows in between, and the business, would flow easily. And therefore, the constraint in this example would be the sales. That was the only thing we needed to fix in order to actually optimize the business. So in order to find a constraint, you need to track all numbers. Because if you don't track all numbers, you cannot know where the constraint is lying. And then you want to have baseline KPIs. So over time, you'll see what is the average cost per follower, for example. Then, if the cost per follower is probably or suddenly doubled, there's something wrong, and the constraint is probably followers. Then you want to have weekly evaluation meetings where you just go over everything, go over the data, look at how we can optimize the business. What is the constraint this week? How can we make it better next week? And then you want to focus on the one thing blocking the flow. It would make no sense for me to optimize the appointment setting flow, optimize the product, if I didn't optimize the sales first, because it won't matter. The meetings won't convert because the sales is bad, and the product won't be used because the sales is bad. I think you get the point now. But a quick example, actually. We had a bad constraint, and that was Emma's time. So basically what I sat down, thought about was, where is she right now where it's kind of low leverage? The answer I found was in the DMs. So at that point, it was a long time ago, she was in the DMs writing with all new followers. My question then to myself was, how can we free her time? The answer was an appointment setter. My third question to myself was, how do we make an appointment setter perform? Well, you make systems and trackers. So I did that. I started building the foundation to free up Emma's time, because now she had 2 more hours every day to take 3 calls or even make more content to attract new leads. So instead of spending the time in the DMs, we can now leverage her time on something that is more valuable. And when we did that, we actually went from, I think it was like 10K to 25K the next month immediately. So that's a really good take as well. So I would highly suggest that you sit down, think about, what is your main constraint in the business? Is it sales? Is it appointment setting? Is it product delivery? Is it your own time? Whatever it could be, please optimize for that, because you will see so good results. The third flow is the workflow, how we work, and the mindset of how we work. The first thing here is we don't think that more work equals more results. Because Emma could work less with an appointment setter and make the same, if not even more. So your valuation of time determines your growth. So if you value your time as low leverage, your business will be low leverage. If you leverage your time as high leverage, it will be a lot healthier business. So just see your time as more and more valuable. Now we're at a point here, and the business is just growing every time that we leverage the coach's time. We don't think in terms of short-term cash, we think in terms of long-term cash. And I think a lot of people neglect the fact here. They do 2 spots left, they do insane guarantees, they go on compromise with their qualities or values because of a client, and that's not good. And that is basically just how you set yourself up for failure in the long run. What we focus on is building the brand, because in the end, that will always give long-term cash. It's basically just more and more eyes on the profile, more and more eyes spending time with her every day, seeing her content, always being reminded there is a way. And at some point, when they have enough pain in their current situation, they take action. So it's a long-term asset and it's a long-term play, but it's also long-term cash, and that's what we focus on. We're not here for making shit ton of money next month and then starting at zero. We always want to have it predictable and make it good. Then a good focus, as we talked about in point 2, is also going up the hour valuation ladder and spending time correctly. Because every time you leverage the time, you leverage the business. The fourth one here is making decisions from data, not feelings. If we go back to point 1, it's basically if you're not tracking, you're guessing. How can you optimize a business if you don't know where the constraint is? And the way you find a constraint is you track the data, and then you make the decision. We also went from a solopreneur mindset to a CEO mindset, because you want to do that when you leverage the time. You have to think in areas of how can we optimize the business for not only us, but for the people that are in the business. And here, for example, you have to think in terms of culture. What is our vision and mission? I think that's a CEO thing. Like, you don't think in terms of that when you're only you, because you know what you want. In terms of vision, our vision is not working, for example, 12 hours a day, making 500 grand a month with low profits and a lot of stress. So that's not what our employees should buy into, and that is not where our decisions should be made from either. So it's really valuable that you have your vision and mission in place, because then you can make the right decisions. Point 4, I would consider myself quite an expert because I've spent so much time in the ads manager and ads. But hard truth is basically paid ads doesn't fix your business, they expose it. So, many coaches, consultants, agencies I talk to think ads will solve their lack of leads, but ads will only highlight the weak offers or broken backends. So think of ads as an amplifier. If your product is shit, you'll just expand shit. If your product is good, you will expand good. It's quite simple. In terms of the point 2 here, you're buying data, not just leads. So ads give you a feedback loop that compounds over time, not a quick fix. So it's also a long-term play. You can't expect that ads work the first week, the first month, not even the first 2 months. You have to let it run for a good amount of time to see how everything is going. Because in point 3 here, we're talking about sales cycles and expectations. So high-ticket sales take time and trust, and ads are infrastructure, not a campaign. So, for example, if it takes us 52 days to make a sale, we can't even think of an ad converting before. That would be stupid of us. So we can't make a decision if an ad is profitable or not before 52 days. In terms of when you should run ads, I would only run ads when you have a proven offer that works manually and you can commit 4 to 6 months to. So you want to have ads for 4 months, 6 months before even thinking about doing them. So you want to run ads when you're comfortable at clicking start and you're just waiting for the clients. Then you also need to understand that ads can go wrong over time. If your ecosystem is solid, you cannot fail over time, but you need to think long term. You can see it as this, like the money is here, goes up, and the followers here. So every time you get more followers, you'll also make more money if your ecosystem is dialed in. Where attention goes, money flows. That's a good saying because it's really true. So for example, here we started and now we're just exponentially growing because Emma is getting more and more followers. Same with all of our clients. The more followers they get, the more new leads they're exposed to, the more people consider buying the offer, the more people buy it. It's not really that hard. And to the 5th one, and one of the good pillars as well that we use for nurturing, is organic content. We use Instagram for attention, which is basically for the top of funnel. Emma is really good. She's a content creator, so of course she's really good at content. She's really good at making things look aesthetic and stuff like that. But this is a rule of thumb for all of our clients. We use Instagram to capture attention, and then we use YouTube for trust, which is long form nurturing. So on Instagram, you can maybe get people to spend 15 seconds with you, maybe 30 if you're lucky. On YouTube, you can easily get people to spend 30, 40 minutes with you if your content is valuable enough. And what we do then is we capture, of course, the attention on Instagram, and we have the trust building mechanism which is YouTube. Now we send YouTube videos between booking and meeting. So, we get the followers in from Instagram, the appointment setter reaches out, and she's sending, or he, in this case she, is sending YouTube videos in between the booking and the meeting, because then the prospect comes pre-warmed, and you will probably see 0 to none no-shows. I think we have like 3 no-shows in the last 400 meetings. It's like crazy numbers. And people are genuinely coming on, not asking, what is it that you do? How can you help me? They're more like, is this possible for me? And stuff like that. And I think you can even cover that in some YouTube videos as well. And I'll of course make videos when I crack the code there. And you need to understand that the content does the heavy lifting as well. As I just said, people don't come on calls and ask stupid questions like, what is it that you do? So you'll save a lot of time and you don't have to over-explain yourself. You can use it on their situation and how you can help them. So your close rate will always be a lot higher. You also build an army of viewers over time. So the personal brand compounds, as I talked about up here. It's basically a game over once you understand this and have the ecosystem dialed in. That's why we do it for everyone. And the more time spent with you, the more trust and the stronger authority. So the one thing that we leverage in all cases, and especially Emma here, is trust. Because people are skeptical. Information is basically, it's everywhere. You can get basically what you could get in a $5,000 course 5 years ago, you can get from ChatGPT now in like 10 minutes. So you're buying into persons. But if you want to buy into a person, you need to build trust to that person before buying. So that is basically our main focus, because we understand how the market adapts and we've adapted to it. And then we see the organic as a vehicle for lowering the cost per acquisition and baseline KPIs based on all these numbers I just told you about. As you can see here, this is her YouTube. There's, 16 videos. There's a Q&A here. There's a vlog here. There's her story here. A week in the life. 20 mistakes I made. 3 best videos. This is how I close deals, 5 methods to find deals, a masterclass in UGC. There's 3 vlogs here, student interview, a vlog here as well, and then a video about fear. This one we use an objection handle when people are like fearing to take the leap or take the jump or whatever you want to call it. So we have a lot more videos in terms of how to convert people and stuff like that. And we do this with all of our clients as well. We have especially 4 videos that we always leverage. So if you want the frameworks for these 4 videos, you can DM me on Instagram. It is linked below. You can DM me video, tell me you came from this video. I have no automations whatsoever. So you'll be talking to me and me directly, because my business is optimized around me and my agency. So if you want the frameworks, DM me video and I will see you in the next video. And I really appreciate you sticking by. It means a lot to me.